In this video, we're going to take a look at our itinerary tool. Our itinerary tool can be used to build all kinds of itineraries or schedules. This can go by a lot of names like day of schedule, production schedule, event timeline, order of events. But whatever you call it, the itinerary tool will take care of it. It is located inside of each event. So I'm going to click on the Events tab. Then I'm going to click on my event. And the itinerary tool will basically work with the event date that you created when you first set up your event. It will start from there. So we're going to click on the link to the itinerary tool right here. And since we're creating our itinerary from scratch here, it is empty right now. We're going to walk through some of the items here at the top. To add a new itinerary item, you just click on the red button right here, Add Itinerary Item. To download a PDF of your itinerary, and this would be a PDF of the entire itinerary, you can do it here. And you can download a PDF sorted by date, time, category, vendor, or by contact. We'll walk through that in more detail later. You can also email the entire itinerary or timeline here, again by date or time, category, vendor, or contact. And finally, under the More button, you can download a CSV file of your itinerary right here. You can manage your itinerary categories, which we'll get to in a moment. You can save this particular itinerary as a template, or you can import an itinerary template that you've already created in the templates area. And we will go through that in a moment. However, we're going to click on the Manage Categories link here, and we're going to create a few categories for our itinerary that we're creating. By creating categories for itinerary, you can then assign each itinerary item to a category. You may want to do this, for example, if you have certain types of items in your itinerary, like entertainment, catering, food, or decor and floral. If you're running a conference or a meeting, you may have sessions, so you may want to create categories called like Session 1, Session 2, Session 3, and then assign line or itinerary items to each category. And if you are running a wedding, you may want to create categories for bride, groom, maid of honor, best man, so that you can basically assign particular itinerary items to those categories. And now that we've created our categories, we're going to create our first itinerary item. Here is where you would add the subject for the itinerary item, and then you can use the drop down here to select one of the categories we've already created, or you can create your own category on the fly by just typing it in right here. And then once you get out of that field, the system will ask you to select a color for that category. The next item is the date of the itinerary item. It will default to the event date or the first day of your event if you have a multi-day event, but you can change the date of this itinerary item by clicking on the calendar icon and selecting a new date. Here's where you would add the start time for the itinerary item, and if there is an end time, you can enter it here. We're not going to enter one for this particular item. Then you can type in a location for this item, and you can attach vendors to itinerary line item by clicking in that field and selecting from the drop-down list. And I'm going to add a few vendors to this particular line item, since basically this is our begin event setup. I want all of our vendors who are involved in the setup to be assigned to this line item. And then here you can assign contacts who have been assigned to your event. So I'm going to assign a contact to this itinerary line item also. And I'm going to assign a couple. And then once I'm done, I will click on the Save button. And now you can see here is all my information that I've just added for that line item. And if I want to quick change the time, I would click on the pencil icon next to the time for this itinerary line item, and I can just change the date, start and end times easily there. And I can also add a note to this particular itinerary line item if I wish. And this note will be included in all of the PDFs and CSV downloads And then once I'm done with this, I'll just click on the Save button, and now that note will appear with that line item. I can always go back and edit the details of my itinerary line item by clicking on the Edit button. I'm just going to add a little bit more to the subject of my item here. And then you can always click on the Delete button to delete that line item. And I'm going to add one more itinerary item here. This will be set up or install my AV equipment for my event. And I'll select my category here. Again, I can just select the date for this itinerary item. And I'm going to insert both a start time and an end time for this item. And as far as the date goes, you can create an itinerary that spans over multiple days. Even if your event is only for one day, you may have set up that starts the night before and goes into early the next morning. And you can set up all of those line items with different dates here. And here's my new line item that I just created. Now you can create itineraries from scratch, or you can create itinerary templates in the templates area and then import those templates into an itinerary. So we're going to click on the templates tab in the main navigation bar. And then we're going to click on the itinerary link. And we have not set up any templates here yet, so we're going to click on the Add Template button. And I'm just going to type in the name of my new itinerary template. Click on the Save button. Here it is. And now I'm going to click on the Edit Template Items, where I can start adding new items, or I can build and manage my template categories. So I'm going to create a few categories for this itinerary template. I'm going to create a category called Rentals. I'm going to give it a color. And then I'm going to create another category called Decor and Floral, which I'm going to add right here. And also give that a color. And once I'm finished with that, I will click on the Done button. And now I'm going to start adding itinerary items to my template. And this form will look somewhat familiar. We're going to add the itinerary description. We're going to select a category. We can enter in a location. We can also include a start time as well as an end time for this item in our template. And then the next option is you can tell the system when you want this itinerary item inserted: on the event date, a certain number of days before the event date, or a certain number of days after the event date. And again, if you have a multi-day event, on the event date will be the first day of your event. And here is that item that we just created right here. And you can click on the Edit button if you want to edit it, or the Delete link if you want to delete it. I'm going to add another line item to our itinerary template here. And when you import this itinerary template into an itinerary in your event, it will pull all of the information you add here, including all the category information, the start and end times, as well as when you want the items inserted on, whether it's on the event date or days before or after the event date. And so I'm just going to continue to create a few more itinerary items here. And again, you can import these itinerary item templates into an itinerary that is blank, or one that already has items in it. And if you're building an itinerary template and aren't quite sure exactly what start times or end times you want those items to appear, you can just ballpark them for now, but you can use the start time field to place these items in the order you want them to appear when you import them into an event. And so for this last item, the teardown item, going to create a new category here on the fly. And I'm also going to have the system insert this particular itinerary item a day after my event date. So I'm going to add a start time here of 1:00 a.m. in the morning. And then I'm going to insert this one day after my event date. And once I hit save, here are the 4 items that I have just created. And before we head back to the events, I am going to click on the back button over here on the left side. This takes me back to the main itinerary templates page. If you click on the More button next to your itinerary template, you've got the options to rename the template, move it to the top or the bottom of the list, and that's if you have several templates here. And now I'm going to go back to my event, and I'm going to go into the itinerary tool inside of my event. And now I'm going to import that itinerary template into my event itinerary here by clicking on the More button and selecting Import Itinerary Template and selecting the template that I just created. I'll click on the Save button, and once I do this, those items will be imported into my itinerary. And you can see the 3 items that I created on the event date have been inserted on the event date, and the 1 item I created to be inserted on the day after has been inserted on the day after. And now I want to show you a handy feature that we created with which you can change items in bulk. So as it says right here, you can select the checkboxes to take action on multiple items. To select all checkboxes, you can click on the one on top, or to select the items themselves, you click on the checkboxes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to change the date for those 2 items to my event date. Right now we have them set both a day before, but I'm going to move them both to the event day. And so now, once I've done that, you can see they now appear on the event day at 8:30 and 8:45 p.m. However, let's say I need to move both these items to 12 hours before. I would just simply click on both of them and then select the shift times forward and back. And this is how you can shift the times forward and back for 1 or more items or your entire itinerary by a certain number of hours or minutes. So I'm going to shift those 2 items back 12 hours. And once I've done this, here are those 2 items that now appear at 8:30 a.m. and 8:45 a.m. This tool can be very handy if you need to shift the times for 1 or multiple items. I'm going to select all the items in my itinerary because let's say I need to shift everything forward by an hour. I'll select the 1 there and select the hours for my increments, and I'm going to move all items forward by an hour. And you can see the system has moved everything forward by an hour in my itinerary. So now let's say I need to assign vendors and contacts to multiple items. I would just select those items here using the checkboxes, and then I would go up to the More link right here and then click on Attach Vendors, Assign Contacts, and then I would click in the drop-down box there and select the vendor or vendors that I want to attach to my line items. And then here I can also select 1 or more contacts that I want to assign to those line items. And once I click on the Save button, now those vendors have been attached and those contacts have been assigned to those line items that I specified. And that's how you can do that in batches. Finally, you can use the checkboxes to change or assign the categories for 1 or more line items. I'm going to select 1 line item, click on the More button, and then I'm going to select Change Category. And then here I'm going to select my category. So I'm going to move this to the Setup category. And now you can see that line item now has been moved to the Setup category. Now let's download some PDFs of our itinerary. To do that, you would click on the PDFs button right here. And you can download a PDF that is sorted by chronologically by date or time, by category, by vendor, or by contact. We're going to download a PDF that's sorted by date and time, chronologically. And so here is what that would look like. We will list the vendors and contacts who have been assigned to itinerary items at the top. And then we would provide a chronological listing of those itinerary items, complete with item name, vendors, contacts assigned, as well as any notes that have been created for that itinerary item. And again, you can download PDFs that are sorted by other things, like, for example, by category. So let's download a PDF that's sorted by category. And this is what that will look like. And here's the category. And under each category, the items that fall under that category are sorted chronologically by time. You can also directly email the entire itinerary out of the event here. You can attach PDFs that are sorted again by chronologically, by category, vendor, or contact. You will select your person you want to email it to in the email to line. You can then edit your subject line as well as the body copy of this email message, and the itinerary will be attached to this message as a PDF right here. Once you click on the Send Now button, this email will be sent off to that contact with the entire itinerary attached to it, and that itinerary would have that we specified was a chronological itinerary. And here I'm going to show you what that email looks like. So I'm going to go into the email that was just sent out. Here is the body copy that we customized, and here is what that PDF would look like. And again, this is just a chronological itinerary, a PDF of the entire itinerary. Now we're going to look at the view options, which is located right here. And we've been viewing the itinerary this entire time chronologically by date and time. However, you can also view the itinerary by category. So if I click on that, it will show the categories and then the items under that category chronologically. And we also, if you notice, there's a link for email and PDFs for each category itinerary. So if I click on the email link, I can select one of the people I've assigned to the event, and I can email them the itinerary for that specific category. I can also download that category itinerary, the PDF of it right here. And as you can see, this particular PDF will only include the items that are in that category. So now let's sort the itinerary by vendor. We're going to click on the vendor button there, and you can see it's sorted by all of our vendors, and everything that's been assigned to each vendor shows up underneath them. And as you can see again, next to each vendor name, you will see an email and a PDF button. If I click on the email link, it will pre-fill out the email to, so it will email to that specific vendor, and I can customize the subject and the subject line as well as the body copy. And once I click Send Now, the itinerary for that vendor will be sent to that vendor. I'm going to show you an example of this here. So here's the email that was just sent to my vendor. Here's the customized message. And if I open up that PDF, you will see that the itinerary has been customized so that it includes only the items for that specific vendor. And that is how you can email the vendor-specific PDFs to each vendor. Now I'm going to go to viewing by contact, and again, this is very similar to vendors in that you can view the items for each contact. And again, you can email the specific contact PDF, or you can download the PDF by clicking on the PDF button. So I'm going to download that PDF for this specific contact. And when I scroll down, you can see only the items that have been assigned to that contact will appear in their itinerary. And this just lets you create customized itineraries for your contacts, your vendors, and your categories. And again, if you click on the More button, you can save this itinerary as a template. So if you've been building an itinerary here and you're like, wow, I would like to save this and reuse it again, you can just use that feature. Well, those are all the functions and features inside of our itinerary tool, but please do let us know if you have additional questions.